Member Al Member from St. Catherine Southeastern, you now have the floor and your time starts now.
All right, guys.
Well, Mr. Speaker, I write it on the National Reconstruction and Resilience Authority Bill 2026. I desperately want to believe that this Parliament subscribes to Bayesian reasoning rather than the dogmatic entrenchment of partisan positions. That we understand that our positions are not absolute truths, they are probabilities. And through honest debate, through the examination of evidence, we update these probabilities. We move closer to what is right, closer to what works, closer to what the people need. We did not come to Parliament to win arguments. We came to Parliament to win a future for the people. And Mr. Speaker, if there was ever a moment that demanded that approach from this chamber, it is now. Hurricane Melissa was the worst disaster to strike this nation in a generation. The assessed damage, over 12 billion US dollars. The people of Western Jamaica, the mother in Maroontown, the fisherman in Black River, the farmer in Darlaston, the child in Falmouth, they are not waiting for us to be right. They are waiting for us to get it right. And being right, Mr. Speaker, and getting it right are not always the same. If we are genuine servant leaders, not merely in title, but in practice, then I beg this honorable House, examine the evidence, weigh it honestly, update your positions so that the bill we pass today into law will secure the present of the people who sent us here and the future of the children and grandchildren they are raising in rubble. We were not sent here by the powerful to protect the powerful. We were sent here by the powerless to protect them from the powerful. Mr. Speaker, the man in the street watching these debates is asking one question. What is NARA? The superficial answer is that NARA is a reconstruction body. But the question is not what NARA is. The question is what NARA is for. Is NARA the answer to the devastation caused by Hurricane Melissa? Or was Hurricane Melissa the answer to this government's long and deliberate march towards authoritarianism and absolutism? Because, Mr. Speaker, the bill before us does not give power to the people to rebuild their country. It takes power from the people and gives it to one man, accountable to one minister, anointed by one prime minister. What is proposed here today is a bill that entrenches this government's long-held desire to concentrate power and resources into the hands of a few and to castrate the state agencies and civil servants whose constitutional roles are to act as watchdogs over every taxpayer dollar. Mr. Speaker, I have searched the Caribbean, the Americas, the globe for a reconstruction body with a similar oversight and accountability framework. I did not find a better model that Jamaica ignored. I found that Jamaica invented the worst model. I am convinced that this government has designed the weakest governance model for a disaster reconstruction authority that has ever been assembled by a modern democracy. A model destined by its very architecture to be scandal-ridden, destined to fail in its strategic objectives of efficient, resilient, and meaningful reconstruction of the infrastructure and the lives of Jamaican people. The Prime Minister spoke of Peru. He carried us thousands of miles across the world to find his cautionary tale. But, Mr. Speaker, we need not travel that far. The answers are closer to home. The warnings are in our neighborhood. When Hurricane Dorian swept through the Bahamas in September 2019, a Category 5 storm, the strongest ever to make direct landfall in that nation, the Bahamian government did not reach for a CEO with absolute powers and an advisory board. They built a full governing board of directors with legally bound fiduciary duties. The Disaster Reconstruction Authority Act of 2019 established a separate chairman, a vice chairman, a managing director, not one omnipotent executive answerable to only a prime minister, but a board with duties, with power, with accountability baked into the law itself. The Bahamas did not trust their reconstruction to one man. They trusted it to a board. And yet, this government asks that Jamaica trust ours to one man with no board. On procurement, the very area this bill defers to, with a ministerial order after it passes, the Bahamians wrote the obligation directly into their law. All contracts awarded within a fiscal year must be publicly disclosed. Their audited accounts had to reach the minister within 3 months of the financial year end. But, Mr. Speaker, even with all of that, the Bahamas still had a scandal. Their forensic audit revealed extreme executive salaries with no basis in performance, companies billing the government for work that they can't prove, and contractors without submitting evidence of a single day's work done, $20 million spent on debris management with non-compliant contractors. The Bahamas had stronger oversight and still fell apart. And Jamaica, through this government, wants us with weaker oversight to stand with them. Cannot work. The logic does not hold. The math does not add up. And the people will pay the price. And then, Mr. Speaker, we look at Haiti. When the earthquake of 2010 killed 200. Mr. Speaker, I am begging protection from Waldorf and Statler from the Muppets. When the earthquake of 2010 killed 230,000 people, the interim Haiti Recovery Commission was co-chaired by the Haitian Prime Minister and Bill Clinton. Voting seats went to the legislature, the judiciary, trade unions, business, diaspora, civil society. They had more governance than NARA in every measurable way. Haiti had every governance structure that this bill refuses to create. And the reconstruction still failed. Jamaica is refusing to create these structures, and we are promising that it will succeed. The lesson from both our neighbors is the same. Elaborate governance does not automatically guarantee success, but the absence of governance guarantees failure. We on this side are not saying that good governance will save us, but we are saying that bad governance will certainly destroy us. Madam, Mr. Speaker, let me go into an area that my colleagues on the other side would prefer I leave unspoken. The question at the heart of this debate is not merely about governance models. It is about trust. And trust must be earned before it is given. You cannot legislate trust into existence when it has been betrayed so many times, over and over and over again. This government is not asking us to trust the system. They're asking us to trust them. And those two requests, Mr. Speaker, are very different things. Are we to believe, are Jamaicans to believe, that the government that closed the corner shops during COVID while big supermarkets operated freely will now protect the small local contractor? Are we to believe that the government that arrested ordinary Jamaicans on the streets for breaching curfew while their very own toasted at uptown parties and no movement days will now apply the rules equally to all? Are we to believe that the government that spent a decade building highways while the side roads of every constituency develop potholes wide enough and deep enough to swallow a vehicle will now prioritize communities that the highways don't reach? Mr. Speaker, are we expected to believe that the government that allowed money to be extracted from the Ministry of Health through overpriced contracts and well-connected companies, dare I say sweetheart deals, while patients slept on chairs in corridors and died waiting for tests to be done, will suddenly become responsible stewards of public health funds? Are we to believe that the government that fought with all its might not to pay doctors, nurses, teachers, civil servants what they deserve, while raising their salaries by 200%, will now put the needs of the people above the interests of the powerful? They could not find the money to pay the nurse who saves lives. They found the money to pay themselves. But now they want us to believe that they will use $2 trillion to save the lives of the people the nurses serve. Mr. Speaker, Naira in its present form is rubbing butter a puss mouth. I say that without apology because the people watching these debates understand exactly what this means. It means do not give something precious and powerful to someone who has repeatedly shown you that they will abuse it. And it means if you do, do not pretend you did not know it would happen. We are not being asked to give Naira power and hope for the best. We are being asked to strip Naira of accountability and pretend nothing will go wrong. Mr. Speaker, let us examine precisely what this bill creates at its center. One CEO appointed directly by the Prime Minister, no merit-based selection requirement in the bill, no independent vetting, no governing board with fiduciary duties, an advisory board only, with no power to override, no power to dismiss, no power to compel. They call it an advisory board. But advice without authority is not governance. It is chattings. this CEO, this Caesar, will exercise authority over nearly 2 trillion Jamaican dollars. He will select his own auditor annually, subject only to the approval of the cabinet secretary, who serves the same cabinet that appointed Caesar in the first place. So, Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister appoints the CEO. The CEO selects the auditor. The Cabinet Secretary approves the auditor. The Cabinet Secretary serves the Prime Minister. This is not a circle of accountability. This is circling the wagons. For $2 trillion of public funds, this is what we are signing away. We are being asked to spend the money now and account for it later. But later is too late for the people whose money is being spent today. And if you dare to speak about what is happening inside that authority, Section 14 provides criminal penalties of up to $1 million or 1 year in prison for unauthorized disclosure. No express whistleblower protection clause. None. Then we have a sweeping indemnity regime that can cover even criminal proceedings. So they commit a crime and the taxpayers have to pay for it, for their defense. They have criminalized speaking the truth about Naira, and they have indemnified those who abuse it. The watchdog has been muzzled, the fox has been released, and the chicken coop is guarded by a CEO who may or may not love fried chicken. Mr. Speaker, Lord Acton warned us, power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts. Absolutely. This government is not merely ignoring that warning. They are writing it into law and calling it efficiency. Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister announced that Naira will build a new Kingston Public Hospital, and we always welcome that. But he also announced a new government campus at National Hero Circle. And I have a simple question for this honorable House. Why is this government building a new home for itself where the people who elected it are still without a home? The new Parliament building, the new government campus, the new KPH, these were on government wish lists long before Hurricane Melissa arrived. Which is why we ask again, is Melissa the answer to the prayers of the government? Melissa did not create these ambitions. Melissa created the financing to pay for these ambitions. Financing that future generations of Jamaicans will have to repay with interest. The storm destroyed the people's homes, and the government is using the money collected and meant to rebuild those homes to build their own legacy project and home. For 10 years, 10 consecutive years, every major hospital in Western Jamaica has crumbled under the weight of the Cornwall regional debacle. Patients from Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, and Hanover traveled all the way to Kingston because their regional hospital could not serve them. And for 10 years, this government did nothing sufficient. Now Melissa has come. Now there is Melissa money. And what rises to the top of the project list? The government campus, the Parliament building. For 10 years, they could not find the money to fix the hospital that serves the West. Now they have found the money and they're spending it on the East. The people who suffer the most are the last in line. Relax, Rose. Wait. Rose. East, Kingston. Priorities. Rose, of all the people interrupting me. And who decides? The bill is explicit. The cabinet shall cause to be issued the authority an official list of approved projects. NARA cannot even originate its own project list. Every comparable reconstruction body in the world, in the Bahamas, in Haiti, was empowered to identify and originate projects. NARA must wait to be told what to do. The authority has all the power to build, but it has no power to decide what to build. The power to execute is given to NARA. The power to direct is kept by the cabinet. This is not delegation. This is subcontracting corruption. If the Prime Minister decides that the new Parliament building is a reconstruction and resilience project, it goes on the list. And NARA builds it with your money, without a board to question it, without a parliamentary vote on procurement, without an Auditor General review. Mr. Speaker, let me speak to what is truly at stake. Then raise a point of order. It's an internal auditor for 1 year. Mr. Speaker, let me speak to what is truly at stake. Because this is not a debate about institutional design. This is a debate about the future of Jamaica. The destructive force of Hurricane Melissa can be a blessing in disguise if the short-term pain unlocks the long-term transformation of this country. $2 trillion, the largest injection of capital into this economy in our history. This could solve the age-old problems that have plagued ordinary Jamaicans for generations. It is not the magnitude of the storm that defines a disaster. It is the nation's response to the disaster of the storm. Let us not make this crisis go to waste in building a better Jamaica. We could build roads that do not flood every season, drains that channel water rather than carry away communities, government buildings that do not shame the people who work in them, houses that are designed for Jamaicans to live in with dignity, not relics of an era before black Jamaicans were smaddified. We have the money to build a new Jamaica, but we are choosing the governance structures of the old plantocracy. Instead of heeding 28 civil society organizations, instead of heeding 29 members, I see you member, 29 members of parliament, instead of heeding the joint submission of Jamaicans for Justice and the Jamaica Environment Trust, this government presses forward. The Auditor General, even before this bill has even passed, has already launched a Hurricane Melissa Relief Governance Audit because the patterns of mismanagement were already present. They're visible in the early relief response. The Auditor General is already auditing the relief, and this government is passing a law to keep scrutiny away from the reconstruction. They have seen the scrutiny coming, and they are legislating it away. We are not building the NARA that Jamaica needs. We are building the conditions that will require another NARA when, God forbid, the predicted devastating earthquake strikes or when the next killer storm comes to this beloved island. We are not building back better. We are building forward worse. But this time with $2 trillion to accelerate the next collapse. Worse. Madam, Mr. Speaker, they may pass this bill today. You have the numbers. You may ignore the 28 civil society groups. You may dismiss the 29 MPs who have expressed concerns about this bill. You may look past the Bahamian forensic audit, the Haitian failure, the Auditor General's work already in the public domain, your own scandals. You have the power to pass this bill today, but the people have the power to judge you tomorrow. When the people who are suffering from the hurricane. You don't talk. You are the Casanova of sweetheart deals. The Casanova of sweetheart deals. When the people who are suffering from the hurricane that passed 6 months ago and now face another hurricane season in 6 weeks, when they realize what was done here today, you will never be forgiven. So let my words go down in prophecy. This day will be remembered as the beginning of the end of this government. Because the mother in Maroon Town shall remember. The daughter in Darliston shall remember. The baby in Black River shall remember. The pensioner in Portmore shall remember. They will remember the future you stole from them. They will remember the better health care you removed from them. They will remember the hope that they lost on this day. History does not remember those who had power. It remembers those who use the power for the benefit of the powerless. This government will be remembered, but I promise you, not for the reason you imagine. I so move, Mr. Speaker.